Hello, guys. Are you there? So, right now we are live here in Global TV Network and at the same time in our other pages. Welcome. Happy Monday, and I hope you are well and you are doing okay this week. So, for this episode, we are going to talk about fats, no? So, fats is something na alam natin very much welcome with our way of life. So, our way of life is about low carb and ketogenic. So, yun yung pinopromote natin. Pero, I realize na marami palang tao na na-overlook when it comes to quality of fats, no? Or the quality of oil na kailangan natin kainin. Hello, Colleen. Hello, Regina. Hello, Wilms. Thank you so much for watching. So, merong mga ibang tao, especially beginners with this way of life, na hindi masyadong knowledgeable. Kasi yung nakikita natin sa Facebook, nakikita natin sa mga advertisements, akala natin lahat ng matataba, lahat ng oily foods is okay na. Yes, generally they are okay, pero merong mga certain fats and oils na kailangan talaga nating i-avoid because these are also known as anti-inflammatory foods, no? Isa sa mga topic natin is to compare between bad fats and bad carbs. Kasi alam natin yung carbs in general are somewhat na kailangan natin i-avoid, di ba? But actually, di ba alam naman natin na with carbs, merong mga carbs na pwede natin kainin as long as they have more value when it comes to nutrients and vitamins, but they have lower value when it comes to calories. Kasi yung calories na nandun sa carbohydrate, yun yung nakakapagpataas ng insulin. And with increase in insulin, elevated insulin, like kapag nag-spike na yung insulin mo, doon na magkakaroon ng fat deposits or pag underutilize ng taba sa ating katawan. Underutilize meaning lahat ng mga extrang taba na nasa katawan mo, hindi niya mabiburn because insulin will block it off. Okay? So when it comes to weight loss, insulin is not good. The moment kasi na merong insulin dyan, as long as you still have insulin in your system, you will never go into a fat burning mode. Whereas at the same time, para naman sa mga taong hindi mataba at payat na, it can still help you kapag lower ang insulin mo because your body will be utilizing, gagamitin niya yung mga taba na hindi na dedeposito sa ating katawan, pero dumadaloy lang inside our plasma o sa ating dugo. Yun ang blood cholesterol. Okay? So, personally, I know a lot of people, especially merong mga familial hypertriglyceridemia. Yun yung mga taong naturally sa kanilang family nakita, meron silang deficiency. Usually, meron yung deficiency sa enzyme na nasa loob ng katawan. Kaya hindi sila nakakagawa ng taba. Kaya kahit anong kain nila, hindi sila tumataba. But yung taba na dumadaloy sa kanilang dugo, which is the blood cholesterol, sobrang taas na. And that is the more scary side of cholesterol. Kapag ang cholesterol, kapag ang taba, sobra-sobra na nasa dugo lang, na nasa blood vessels lang, yun yung delikado kasi yun yung associated with high risk of mortality and morbidity sa ating mga cardiovascular diseases, heart attack, strokes, all those, and even vasculitis, yung pamamaga ng blood vessels, it is highly associated with those illness, those condition. For those na mga veteran na, tulad ni Ma'am Bumanglag Regina, veteran na yan sa ating low carb na meals and diet. Ano pong mako-comment nyo? I know, ano pong pinaka-tips nyo? O nung simula, ano po ang mga akala natin ay okay lang, but later on, na-realize natin na hindi pala okay. So that is what we are going to talk about. The good fats and the bad fats in ketogenic diet. And if you compare bad fats and bad carbs, no? So for example, bad carbs tulad ng isang candy, no? So that is bad carbs. But how about bad fats? So an example of bad fats, yung sobrang hindi talaga magandang fats is margarine, okay? So you see, if you are part of our Life Without Rice na group, no, marami tayong mga recipes dyan. Usually, we use butter. Kasi yung butter, it's natural yan, na galing sa milk ng cows, no? So it's made from animal fat at hindi siya processed fat. Kasi yung margarine, yung nilalagay lang dyan, mga iba-ibang terms nila. Eh. Sometimes nilalagyan pa nila ng kung ano-ano pangalan. Like for example, buttermilk. So ang akalain mo, butter na siya kasi nga merong butter sa pangalan. But if you read through it, kapag binabasa mo siya ng mas mainam, makikita mo doon, it's processed margarine or rendered animal fats or merong milk with real milk proteins para masasabing galing siya sa animal fats, but largely it is just composed of oil, industrialized oil, and worst side, yung tawag nating hydrogenated oil. So yung mga oils, kina-classify natin between either monosaturated oils, polyunsaturated oils, at saka meron pa tayong classifications if it's a omega-6 or omega-3 na oils. Ngayon, yung omega-3 is something that is very important. So, itatakal natin sila one by one. Kasi noon, yung saturated fats, tulad ng coconut oil, tulad ng animal fats, lard, butter, ito yun mostly, yung characteristic nila is sila yung mga tumitigas. Tumitigas sila kapag nasa malamig na condition. And then, nagiging liquid form lang sila kapag mainit na. And the monounsaturated oils, yun yung stable, yung liquid form, even if nasa cold environment. So, yun lang yung usual classification. And we were brought up kasama sa mga, sabi natin, lies, no? Yung mga hindi tamang pinapaniwalaan noon is lahat ng taba na natutulog kapag maginaw ang panahon ay masama. Kasi sabi nila, kasi yang daw yang taba na yan na nagiging solid on cold temperature will be the one that will cause blockage sa ating blood vessels. But now we realize it's more than that. Hindi ganon gumagana ang ating katawan. And if you, based on that idea, yung body natin actually, meron niyang mine-maintain. May mine-maintain siya na core body temperature. It's around 30, yun yung 35.5 to 37.5. Yun yung core body temperature natin. Anything lower than that is already considered as hypothermia, meaning sobrang ginaw na. And you are not eligible or somewhat hindi na siya fit for life. So, hindi pwedeng matulog ang taba sa ating katawan habang tayo ay buhay. So, it's a very common misconception. However, not all fats din na hindi natutulog ay healthy na. Not because they are considered as low in saturated fat content, ay masasabi na natin we can already consume all we want. Okay? So we usually have graphs no, of different kinds of, ipapakita ko sa inyo so that it will see comparison of saturated fats. Saturated fats among cooking oils. Kasi yung cooking oil, yun yung pinaka ginagamit natin, di ba? So, among all cooking oils, the healthiest actually, sa nakikita natin, is the coconut oil. Kasi yung coconut oil, heat stable. Meaning, kahit ilagay mo siya in a very high heat, boiling point, hindi na o-oxidize ng oxygen yung structure ng taba na galing sa coconut oil. So, it's a matter of biochemistry. Yung chemical component, kung merong mga chemist dyan na nanonood, alam nyo, so, yung saturation and unsaturation of fats will dictate yon kung depende sa hydrogen bond na content. So, usually, nasisira yan when it is exposed to high heat. But coconut oil is somewhat heat stable, okay? Kaya siya, pwede natin siyang gawin pwede siyang very healthy, i-take in as raw. Yes, if you've heard about MCT oil. MCT oil, medium chain triglyceride oils, are very healthy in a way na it can be easily converted into ketones. Okay? So, between bad fats and good fats, we will talk first about the good fats in ketogenic diet. So, ano ang mga good fats na usually nakikita nyo? Like mga post ng mga friends and families natin dyan na nagkikito or members ng Life Without Rice group. So, try to remember kung sino makaka-answer dyan. Let's make this more interactive. The more, the merrier, the happier, and the more we can learn also, no? So, before we proceed, I would like to say hi to Colleen, to Marisa, to my mother, to Elise, to Eleanor, to my suon, Mariani. So, suon in Tagalog, ano ba yung suon? Yung ninang niya ang mama ko. So, hello, Mariani. Hello, Marby. Watching from Makati. Hello. Thank you so much for watching. Nes, Sumaya. Si Sumaya, meron mo talagang yung pangalan mo. Hi, thank you so much. Yes, I'm so glad na nakahabol ka. And of course, Miss TP of Cagayan. So, we already have representative from Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, at China. Meron pang China. Meron ding UAE. So, thank you so much po. Sobrang happy. It's gonna be a very happy episode because you are all here watching. So, hello din Mayulin, hello Ems, and also to yung sa dietary namin sa hospital, nakita ko siya kanina, sabi niya nanonood daw siya. So, sabi ko sa kanya, hindi ko malalaman na nanonood ka kung hindi ka magko-comment or magsasabi kung nandyan ka. So, I hope you are there watching po, ma'am, and I hope you get to enjoy and learn from this episode. So, ngayong episode now, we will tackle about good fats. So, good fats, one thing that you should consider is if it's occurring naturally. Kapag it's occurring naturally in nature, okay? Kapag hindi processed. Kapag ang isang taba ay prinoseso ng sobra-sobra, especially undergoing heat, it is already considered unnatural. So if you will try to think, ano ang mga pagkain na from nature, alam mong mamantika, alam mong fatty. Okay? So, number one in our head, we are very lucky. Actually, neglected lang natin to. But we are very, very lucky to have lived in a tropical country na merong coconut. Okay? So, meron tayong comparison of dietary fats and nakikita natin yung amount of saturated fat content nila. Here. Okay? So, you can see that clearly. Patingin natin. So, ano yung pinakamataas? So, yung pinakamataas na saturated fats is actually coconut. Yung oleic is omega-9. Okay? 3, meron siyang konting omega-3, but that is almost negligible. And then, meron konting, wala pa talaga siyang omega-3, but meron siyang dalawang omega-6. Okay? So, with this, dinidivide nila into 4. Merong saturated fats, merong linoleic or omega-6, merong omega-3, at merong omega-9. Okay? So, yung pinaka-importanting kailangan isipin natin dito is the presence of saturated fats that is naturally occurring. So, good that coconut has very high saturated fats. And yung fats din natin, nag-iiba yan. Merong long chain, merong short chain, meron ding medium chain. So, we know that coconut fats are made of medium chain triglycerides. Okay? So, these medium chain triglycerides, these are very good sources of fats kasi hindi actually siya nade-deposito agad-agad as taba sa katawan. Okay? Between fats na galing sa coconut and between fats na kakainin mo from taba, like for example, galing sa bacon or other forms, or for example, butter, your chances of converting that taba is less if it's from coconut oil, the medium chain na triglycerides, kasi it will be easily converted into energy. When it comes to processing, kapag kumakain ka ng taba, you will have 3 possibilities kung anong mangyayari sa kanya. It can be generated as just blood cholesterol. Pwede lang siyang travel lang within your blood vessel. If you are taking it together with insulin, it can be converted into peripheral fats, yung taba na nakakapagpataba, nakakapagpabigat sa atin. And also, it can be converted actually into energy in the form of ketones right in our liver. And if you are eating too much together with insulin, ito ay magiging taba na mag-a-accumulate sa ating liver. That's why it is very important na kapag kumakain ka nito, it's always alone or together with proteins at halos walang carbohydrates. Carbohydrates is just something that we ingest a little of it kasi alam natin marami sa atin na sobrang impossible mabuhay ng walang carbohydrates. But I tell you again, carbohydrates is not essential. With this kind of life, with this lifestyle, marami na akong nakikilalang personally na nagle-live on pure carnivore diet. And they are fine. They are alive and well and never been better because they are consuming only pure protein and fats and the healthier ones, which is itatakol natin, and hindi yung mga processed. Okay, so omega-3 is essential. Kapag tinatawag nating essential, meaning hindi kayang gawin ng ating katawan, okay? So omega-3 is the healthier ones kasi it is highly stable at mas nutrient dense siya, mas kailangan siya ng mga important parts ng ating katawan. Like for example, in our brain, omega-3 is very important for brain health. It is part of the component na ginagawa para maging component parts na para gawing structure within our brain. Like for example, yung mga DHA, di ba, naririnig nyo yun kapag sa breast milk na tinatry nating kopyahin in our infant milk formulas, yun. It's because EPA, DHA, yung components na yon are actually made of very healthy fats. And omega-3 can help with that. Now, with omega-3, we move on to omega-6. Now, omega-6 is actually very, parang tricky siya. Kasi if iisipin mo, para siyang essential din because we can't make it on our own. But the problem is, omega-6 is sobra-sobra. We are actually taking in so much omega-6 that it's already flooding our system. And that is causing inflammation. So kahit minsan, it's good if you are strict with your ketogenic diet. But sometimes meron nagkukonsulta sa akin, nagta-try asking, no, bakit even if I am strict on ketogenic diet, why is it that my blood values is still not that good? Bakit sobrang taas pa din ng kanilang LDL, ng triglycerides? And usually, I tell them, actually, as long as your HbA1c or your blood sugar control is also low, meaning you are secure na these fats are not causing that damage when it comes to deposits nga maging atherosclerosis that can lead to heart attack and stroke. However, hindi lang dyan ang effect ng mga tawag nating bad fats because omega-6, if accumulated, it can still cause cellular damage sa mga cells and it can still cause some degree of inflammation, especially for those na nagsistrict keto diet but yung tinatawag nating dirty keto, eating highly processed foods that are in macros, meaning when it comes to considering protein, fats, and carbohydrates, pasok sa keto, pero it's not clean keto because the sources of fats are actually processed fats. So, yun yung hindi maganda. So, it is said na if you eat omega-6, you should pair it up with omega-3. At least, if you do not want to add any more damage, you should eat a 1:1 ratio of omega-6 to omega-3. Okay? So, ganon. So, that's why if you saw my post, kapag kumakain ako ng mga processed, from time to time, yes, I still eat the bad fats. Kasi minsan meron talaga mga occasion that we do eat that. But importantly, we try to eat as clean as possible majority of times, no? at magiging exemption lang yung mga panahon na kumakain tayo ng bad fats, okay? Because eating bad fats will actually lead to more damage as compared to bad carbs. Yes, alam na natin, we've always talked about bad carbs. Pero, meron ding mga bad fats na kailangan natin i-avoid. That is the reason why kapag kumakain ako, nakakakain ako ng merong bad carbs, bad fats rather, umiinom ako ng extra 1 or 2 doses of fish oil. Kasi yung fish oil, it's omega-3. But I know hindi rin, not all fish oil are created equal. Sometimes you really have to choose a good quality ng fish oil. Kasi yung iba, it can also be rancid. It can also be bad kapag overexposed na siya. Omega-3 is not heat stable. Okay? Meaning, kapag na-expose sa heat yung omega-3, it can also become a bad fat. Even if omega-3 is a very good fat, but undergoing heat, kapag naiinitan ito, especially when cooking, high heat, it can become hydrolyzed na peperoxidized, parang na because of heat na iiba yung structure niya. Actually, after heating, it's already not omega-3 anymore. Okay? Nag-iba ng structure niya and it becomes toxic fats na kahit na kinakain natin siya, it can stay there for long. It is said na each bad fat, each fat na industrialized, highly processed, are not converted into energy, are not converted into fats, but it can stagnate there and it can cause cellular damage sa cells kasi kinukunan niya ng particles, yung mga particles na nagko-cover sana ng mga cells natin kasi yung cells natin, it's made up of lipid bilayer, okay? So kapag nandyan yan, it can stay to your system up to 55 days, okay? So these bad fats are actually staying there. So for those na nagtatanong na bakit kahit super strict na sila na keto diet, bakit sobrang taas na kanilang LDL at ganyan, that is try to see if you are consuming fats the good way and if you are getting good fats from the right sources and if you are eating the good fats as is, as natural at hindi ito nadadamage. So we already have coconut oil, butter ang next na with higher saturated fat content, but it's already increasing in omega-9. So omega-9 is just another sa number of carbon atoms lang yan. Kasi from the core, meron yung 1, 2, 3, 4. So if ika-third atom, ika-third carbon siya na nakalagay na walang na hindi siya na-saturate, yun yung omega-3 and omega-6, omega-9. But largely, omega-3 is the healthier ones. So that is why butter is considered as good. And also, kapag wala ng option, we also have palm oil. So palm oil is also one of the parang better ones. But actually, if you have sources of coconut oil, better to choose coconut oil. And also butter. It's very good ang butter. Kaya lang, although butter is actually very heat stable when it comes to structure, pero hindi siya stable when it comes to cooking kasi nasusunog, di ba? So that is one of the reasons, no? Lard. Lard is considered as a good fat, but it is a saturated fat. It is good as long as you take it in moderation, okay? So it is important to take it in moderation. Alam natin dapat kung kailan na ang sobra. And then the rest here, starting actually from cotton seed oil, is it really the cotton seed? Kasi if it's the cotton seed oil, all these canola oil, safflower oil, flaxseed is somewhat okay, but corn oil, these are actually, and most especially soybean oil, na kung titingnan mo, mas marami yung kanyang content na omega-6. Ang saturated fats niya, sobrang konti lang. And then it's made up of omega-9. So that is somewhat not necessary, unessential parts of the food, of the fat na kailangan natin ipunin. Kasi if you think about it, yung red line, kahit hindi klaro, yung red line lang, the red line, the saturated fat, coming from your coconut, kahit sobrang saturated pa siya, but you can easily use it. It will not stagnate and cause damage in your system. It can easily be converted into energy. It can be easily converted into ketones. The same way with somewhat a little after that is butter. But the rest, sobra. Ang dami, ang sobrang dami ng yellow. So this is just lifted directly in the internet, no? But how do we interpret it? Yung red, it can give you a signal that red is bad. So, dyan pa lang, meron ka ng effect na akala mo, kailangan mong i-avoid to kasi ang dami ng red. But actually, these red ones are the ones that are easily processed by your body na pwede siyang gawin. Pwede siyang ma-convert into energy in the form of ketones. However, the yellow ones, especially the omega-6 and omega-9, these are the kinds of fats na hindi basta-bastang mako-convert into ketones as a source of energy. It will take so much. Maybe you should fast longer. Maybe you should really remove all your carb intake para lang just so you can burn, just so it can be processed. No? So that 55 days timeline is just for the people who are not fasting regular eater. So it can stagnate to that long. So we have to know how to interpret things. So kahit pa you can check this all in the internet, but it will be different na you understand what you are looking into. Okay? So the important next good fat that I want to show you is the olive oil. So olive oil is somewhat here, no? So olive oil, nakikita nyo, siya yung pinaka mataas na dark yellow. So the dark yellow is the omega-3. So yes, olive oil is good. It's part of our good fats. But there is a very, very important warning when it comes to olive oil. And that is, na-mention natin kanina, we should not put it, we should not have it cooked or underwent high heat. Kasi kapag naiinitan yung olive oil, madadamage niya siya. So this one, ito yung olive oil, yung dark yellow na yan. Yung olive oil, kapag naiinitan, kapag gagamitin mo siya pang prito, kapag gamitin mo siya, the worst, if you use it for deep frying, or sometimes even for cooking, no? Or for baking, kapag na-undergo ng heat, actually, it becomes toxic. It's no longer different from other processed industrialized oil. So it is important that you use your olive oil as natural, as raw as possible. That is the reason why yung olive oil, especially the extra virgin olive oil, ay nakabalot. Usually, yung kanyang sisidlan is dark green. Minsan nga, yung iba black, very dark, because it is protecting the oil even from sun rays or sun exposure or even artificial light exposure. Because light exposure alone can already damage its chemical structure. So imagine, grabe yung pag-protect mo. The olive oil costs so much because it costs so much as well for it to be processed, for it to be shipped, for it to be safely delivered to your home. Only for you to use it for cooking at sinira mo lahat. Sinira mo yung nutrient value, masisira ang economic value. You're paying for the raw, healthy omega-3, but the moment you cook it, mawawala yan. So that is also very important, okay? So that is, I think, for another more healthy na cooked na oil is avocado oil. But somewhat, yes, tama si, I think may nag-comment kanina, avocado, so they are naturally fatty. So that's why it is more healthy kasi natural yung pagkuha sa kanya. So yes, Wilms, tama, avocado oil. However, I feel sad, no, na to think we are one of the countries na maraming avocado oil, but we do not have avocado oils in the market. Meron man, nasa SNR pa or kung saang shopping center pa na galing sa abroad. Only to have it at a very, very expensive price. So maybe if magkakaroon ng industry or company that will make avocado oil coming from Philippine avocados, maybe it will really, really become a very, very good thing. It will become a hit. As we know, during avocado season, maraming hindi na nasisira lang. So it's such a waste. Sobrang sayang talaga. So before we proceed with other good fats na hindi naman galing sa hindi naman just for cooking, I would like to have a break and mag-greet tayo. So hello Rosaline, Annabelle. I think Annabelle just shared her progress, no? I think Annabelle already lost, if I remember it right, around 28 kilos. Tama ba? No, 18 kilos. Yeah, so maybe Annabelle soon can, kasi for my eyes only ba lang yung transformation niya. So maybe you can encourage Annabelle to show her progress para mas ma-inspire tayong lahat. And Marilyn, Benedicto Rava, hello. Hello, Jocelyn Satre, Stelo Santos, and of course, Sir PJ Mallorca from UK. Hello. And Shell Martos, Chloe, my dear, butter is heart, 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 love, love, love. Yes, butter on everything, okay? And especially butter on everything except high carbs. If you put butter on bread, make sure it is low carb. And Marvy, yes, ganun yon. And Marielle Izat Hichua, ano din po yung lauric oil? Since it's cheap and easily available. Lauric oil is actually a kind of oil na makikita mo with coconut. So lauric oil, if you look closely, it's saturated oil. That is just actually a saturated oil. Another form of ano lang of oils. Kasi may mga pangalan yan eh. Linoleic, oleic, mga ganyan. Yun yung chemical names nila. So, lauric oil is a saturated fat na component na makikita natin. It's mostly, kapag nakikita kang lauric oil, it's most likely it's coconut oil. So, it's safe, especially for cooking. So, yun yung pinaka-importante. And of course, we also have peanut oil. But, before siya na-extract, it's undergoing heat. Okay? So, kapag na-undergo ng heat, yun yung nakakasira. It can become bad fats. At included dyan, if you think about it, yung mga seed oils. So, you can see the seeds, no? Naturally, yung mga seeds, wala naman talaga niyang mantika. Sobrang tigas nga niyan eh. It's very dry, it's very thick. So, if you can extract oil from that, especially sunflower, imagine nyo ba yung sunflower seed? Yung sunflower seed na sobrang liit, sobrang tigas, and you can extract oil from that. It's almost like magic, but hindi siya magic. It's just the power of industrialized processing forcing those little oils there to be expressed. And yes, it has become a new flavor. It has an aroma that we learn to love. But we have to know that these oils can cause damage. One oil with that na sobrang gustong-gusto ko when it comes to taste and flavor ha, it's the sesame oil. Sinong mahilig sa samgyupsal dyan? 'Di ba? Hindi kompleto ang samgyup experience kapag walang sesame oil. But we know na sobra. It can just know na if ever magsa-sesame oil ka, it can stay to your system just as is for as long as almost 2 months. So, okay lang sana if the rest of the time wala ka ng ibang kinakain. But if you're eating that and you're not sticking to a healthier lifestyle all through and through all day, it can cause some damage. So, sayang. Baka merong nai-inspire sa'yo. Ba't nakita nila bigla, nagkasakit ka, and then baka hindi na ma-inspire kasi akala nila it's all bad. So, we have to be careful. We have to be conscious and mindful kung ano yung pinakain natin. So, this is actually leveling up. Kasi for beginners, enough na yung masasabi natin, you won't gain fats by eating fats. And that is true. Kasi kapag kahit industrialized oil yan, you will still start losing fats as long as you remove the carbs. But I know most of you who are listening right now, hindi na beginners when it comes to keto diet, when it comes to fasting, when it comes to low carb. So this is like an advanced, intermediate to advanced course. You have to know your oils, you have to know your fats, and which ones are good, which ones are bad. Between butter and margarine, ano dapat? Butter lang. Okay? Butter. When between palm oil and coconut oil. Between canola oil and palm oil ka na lang. Okay? So, better. So, that is really, really good. And also, what is important is the other good fats that can be sourced out from our animal friends. So, butter also, although na-mention natin kanina, butter and lard, no? There is also yung isa na hindi masyadong common dito, but common with Indian cuisine. So, yung ghee butter, di ba? Yung Ghee. Okay, tama ba ang pagkakasabi natin? Ghee butter. Sesame oil, OMG, oo, diba? Nakakalungkot. But, amount and frequency of eating still matters. Okay? So, I'm just telling you this so that you'll know and that para alam mo when you will take it, when you need to have a break from it, at para mas maging empowered ka. Because my goal actually is sharing you whatever things I know so that you yourself will become empowered enough to control your life. Kayo ang in control. Not me, not the videos you're seeing, not the post of other people, not whatever that you see in the internet. I am laying it on you here so that kayo mismo magiging empowered and you'll know what to do. At sa huli, walang sisihan when it comes to whatever kasi we know it was a conscious decision. Like for me, personally, from time to time, I still eat, ano bang kinakain ko na may bad oil. Before, kapag tinatamad akong gumawa ng aking homemade mayonnaise, there is this brand of mayonnaise na paborito talaga namin sa bahay. So yes, I buy that from time to time. But I know na kapag sumama yung pakiramdam ko after a few days of that, consistently eating that, I know what to blame. And I will not blame anyone else, anything else but myself. So that is empowerment. So that is taking responsibility. That is gaining control. And that is something that I want you to have. Yung vegetable oil, fat po ba, healthy doc? Ay, yun yung pinaka. If we have to emphasize on bad fats, number one, vegetable oil. Because yung vegetable oil, you have to look closely kung anong component niyan. Vegetable oil are mostly industrialized oil. Tulad lang sila ng mga cotton seed oil at kung ano-ano pang oil na mahirap ibenta. So eventually, they decided to put vegetable on it, considering na it's coming from plant, yung pinaka-original part niya. But actually, it is not healthy at all. I think I mentioned this before. There is this very, very sad idea here in the Philippines na we don't appreciate how good coconut oil is, na merong mga coconut oil producers na dinilabel nila yung kanilang product as vegetable oil just so it can be bought, just so it will sell. So, because yung mga tao is very, very uneducated when it comes to good fats and bad fats, na they have to label it as actually the real bad fat, which is the vegetable oil. Kasi kapag nilabel ito ng coconut oil, yung mga tao natatakot, hindi binibili. So that is important. So vegetable oil, you have to look closely. Generally, especially if you're abroad, not in the Philippines, say no to all vegetable oil. But if sa Pilipinas ka, especially yung unbranded products, kapag nakatawag na vegetable oil, try to see closely kung ano yung ingredients. Kasi makikita mo dun. Usually, coconut oil. And then, if it's saying that it's real coconut oil, then it's good. As long as walang kasamang kung ano-anong preservatives. Ang bango kasi ng sesame oil, but I've read na medyo not so nice din siya. So, drizzle lang if nami-miss ko. Yes, the aroma of sesame oil is really, really good. Kaya, yun. Kaya kapag nagsasamgyupsal tayo, focus on bacon na lang, on the bacon slices, on the, ano yun, yung mga pork and beef rather than the oil. Make these bad stuff, you make it as condiments only. Okay? Condiments, meaning konti-konti lang ha, hindi yung bonggang-bongga. So before we proceed, Saan pa ba? Mariel, thank you, Doc. Kakastart ko po sa low carb diet, keto diet. You are an inspiration to all. Thank you so much, Mariel. That is so sweet of you. And si Ayeng, finally, naka-online ulit. Minsan na, the last time, I'm not sure, nakahabol pa si Ayeng. Oo, nakahabol si Ayeng. Si Chloe yun yung hindi nakahabol. Hello, Enja Dor. Okay, si Sir Norge yan. Iba-iba ang mga friends yan in this way of life. Hello po. Thank you so much for watching. Sadja, yes, yung vegetable fat, try to avoid it as much as possible. Kasi nga, yung totoong vegetable yung totoong vegetable, hindi naman talaga mantikain. So, ayan, kakastart lang mag-LC, kakapalab niya lang kanina, tumaas daw LDL and cholesterol niya. Yes, yun yung common. But as I always say, you should actually not worry so much kapag nakastick ka sa low carb. But if you want to improve more, if you want to be on the safest side, do low carb and consume good fats. Okay? And then try to do that, make it 55 days. Kasi nga, yung bad fats, di ba, it can stay to our system as long as 55 days. So you do that strictly, safely for 2 months and try to have labs taken again and you will see the difference. It's a no-fail, no proof, a fail-proof plan, okay? I love sesame din. Yeah, marami tayo. Doc, I just came from a neurologist because of chronic migraine. Bawal na daw ako sa fasting. Okay, so what is your fasting schedule? And ano ba yung mga kinakain mo? So, you can try to look into it, no? Before, hindi talaga ako nagma-migraine and marami akong kilalang nagma-migraine, meron ding mga stress headache, chronic headache, at nawala with fasting and low carb. So, with migraine, so something it is neurologic, try to si Libe ba ang pagka-pronounce ng pangalan mo? Try to look into the amount of possible processed fats, no? Yung mga vegetable oil, canola oil ba yung ginagamit sa bahay or kung anong ginagamit na mga oils, and most especially mga processed foods, especially yung mga if you are buying those keto-friendly processed foods, try to look into it. Kasi yung iba, yung ginagamit nila, processed oils pa din. So, if migraine is a neurologic manifestation coming from pain, pressure, or whatever, so try to look into it. If you think you will not benefit from fasting, so that is your choice, that is your decision. But so far, with my experience, fasting and natural food, real food na low carb can heal so much. Okay? Miss Eleanor, empowered, so many enlightening information. Thank you so much, Eleanor. Very, very appreciative of you. And 2 months na po talagang wala, 2 months na po. This is Annabelle. Ang dami nagbago sa health ko. Thank you po sa guidance. And I think she mentioned also in our talks na you feel a lot lighter. And it is also a very, very good na we can see the difference. Nakita ko talaga yung improvement. So, I am happy with that. And moving on to good fats is fish oil. So, we mentioned it a while ago. So, fish oil may come in supplement forms, merong mga tablets. But if you can get it as natural as possible, actually, the best yan, no? So, one of the healthiest fatty oils we know is, ano yung favorite nyo? Salmon. Okay, so I love salmon. Gusto ko yung salmon. But yung salmon, di ba, piniprito natin and then it's deep fried or yung binibake. But sa totoo lang, yung oil content niya, nasisira din because it's still omega-3. So, as much as possible, yung oils na yan, na parang nakakadiri lang siya when it comes to thinking you have to eat it raw. But at least if you cook it, better cook it light, hindi matagal. Kung pwede, enough lang, a little, isang grill lang, enough lang ng parang medium rare. And that is the reason why Japanese, Chloe can attest to that, are very, very healthy because they're eating sashimi. So, salmon sashimi and everything raw and as natural form as possible. So, yun, importante pa rin na we are taking that. And how about the fats that are in our beef, our chicken, the chicken skin, the pork. So these are all saturated fats. Neutral fats, it can cause you, it may be good. It may be good when eaten in moderation, but it can still be bad if in excess. Now, in the book, I told you, no? So, for the books in here, Perfect at Last, and we also have the book two. So, for the book two, we always say na you don't count your fats, you just count your carbs. Kasi when you're actually not eating carbs at all, it is very hard to overeat the fats and the proteins kasi magiging appetite corrected ka. But we realize na part of eating sometimes is very habitual. More on habits siya. So kahit nauumay ka na, but you are used to eating really bulk of food, you can still overeat with keto diet. Kahit wala ka nang halos kinakain na fats, kahit na carbs, no? So for those who has the tendency to binge eat a lot, so you have to be mindful, more mindful about it, and try to consume the healthier fats first. Kung mauumay ka man, maumay ka muna sa good fats before you take in a lot of not so good fats or neutral fats. Para at least kapag naumay ka, the first ones that will you take in are the good fats. Okay? Okay, seared salmon too. Yes, at least madali lang. You just sear it a little. So love salmon sashimi. So it's really really good. Before I'm not used to eating that kasi nga Pinoy ako. So no, I'm so used to grilling everything until nasusunog, deep frying until crunchy yung mga ganun. So it took me a while. I think less than 5 years pa lang ako natutong kumain ng mga sashimi, mga ganyan. Ngayon, I love them. Gusto ko na. Kahit sa steaks, na-appreciate ko na rin yung rare, medium rare, kahit, at hindi ko na ma-appreciate yung well done. Noon, yung bata pa ako, I cannot imagine myself eating that. But now, parang isa na ako sa nagpo-promote. So marami na rin akong na so far somewhat na na-convince na masarap ang rare na steak at yun na, kinakain na namin ngayon. So I'm so happy with my loved ones being so open to suggestions. Okay, so moving on to bad fats. Bad fats, yes, yung pinaka-importante dyan are the vegetable fats, yung shortening. Alam nyo ba yung shortening? So, sino mga nagbe-bake dyan? So, sa mga shortening na yan, it's actually a highly processed fats. Yun yung mga para siyang tulog na mantika na kailangan mo talaga siyang undergo na very, very high heat para lang matunaw. So, it's a bread stabilizer. It stabilizes baking, ganyan. But it is 100% full of processed fats. That is the reason why generally processed foods like mga breads, donuts, cakes, all those na especially hindi homemade na you don't know what is put into it, yung commercial products, the one that you buy in the grocery stores, the one that you know not made locally, alam mo, it's made up of processed industrial fats. So that's why in general, avoid na lang lahat ng yan. Okay? So yung this also explains why kung alam natin yung mga ancestors natin, mga lolo, lola, at kung sino-sino pang mga alam natin noon na sobra-sobra yung faith nila sa lana. 'Di ba? Yung extra virgin coconut oil yan is actually lana because actually it's very very healthy. And noon hindi pinapakain yung may sakit. Kapag kumakain man sila, pinapakain lang sila ng sabaw ng mga kung anek-anek na mga dahon, na kung ano-ano dyan. Malunggay, all those, lahat ng greens. And then, pinapainom ng lana, di ba? Ng oil, ng coconut oil. So actually, what they are inducing before is fast mimicking diet. It's a fat fast, no? Fat fast meaning you are not taking anything, but if you have to take in something, it's something that is very fatty. So it can give an explanation why people heal miraculously during those times. Kasi yung mga vegetables na yan, yung mga malunggay, halos wala naman yung kasamang calories. Halos walang laman yan. It's all just fiber with its nutrients. And then also part of it is placebo effect. The belief that you will heal will actually make you heal up to 45% of the time. And that is based on scientific research. So that is how things used to be, no? So can't afford someone for now. Bangus belly. Yes, bangus belly is also very fatty. Bangus, paborito ko yung bangus. At saka anduhaw. Anduhaw ba yun? Yung fish, yung parang mackerel na local. And also, of course, blue marlin. Blue marlin is really, really good. No, sobrang sarap din. At as much as possible, we try not to deep fry it. No, yun yung lesson natin ngayon. Huwag mag-deep fry ng mga ng mga mataba na fish because you are wasting the nutrients from those omega-3. Okay? The best din yan. Yes, we love bangus, no? Although merong lang konting issue with bangus, especially farm-raised bangus, yung mga puno. Kasi daw, they are already full of hormones, depende sa kung ano ang kinakain nila. So, you just take it. So, as what we say, those studies, all those foods, no, based yun on standard diet. But, I feel like if you are eating those, kahit merong konting anek pa yan na hormones na galing sa feeds ng kinakain nila, but as long as you're not eating it 3 times a day, mainly because you are fasting, either nag-eat 2 meals a day ka lang, 1 meal a day ka lang, and you're not eating it together with carbohydrates like rice, bread, pasta, soft drinks, I think you are okay. We are on the safer side. Okay, okay? So, we can move on to bad carbs. No? So, we already know bad carbs and versus bad fats. So, we know the bad carbs. For example, yung candy na sample natin. Candy versus margarine. Actually, alam nyo ba, you can still do away with a little bad carbs than a little bad fats. It's so sad, no? Na para siyang, when I first read on that and realized that, para siyang, it's like another enlightening moment na sometimes mas pwede ka pa palang, mas allowed ka pa to cheat a little on bad carbs as compared to bad fats. Kasi bad carbs will trigger insulin and insulin effect is just 18 hours. But bad fats can stay in your system for 55 days. Imagine that. So yun, those are very, very important salient points that I want to leave with you all. And it's going to be another struggle. But I hope huwag kayong manghinaan because kung struggle lang yung iisipin natin, remember how we all struggled during the first time we heard na hindi na tayo kakain ng kanin? 'Di ba? It is such a serious struggle. But look where we are now. Look kung saan na tayo ngayon. For those first-timers who are first time to listen to this, baka akala nyo it is something na we do easily. Sa start, we really struggled during the start. It was really a conscious decision. Everything you have to think, everything you have to count, everything you have to avoid, yung parang ganong level. But eventually, it will become a norm. You can adapt to it, and it's something that we can all do. So, coming from low carb, general avoiding all carbs and being okay with all fats. Graduate na tayo dyan. We are now moving on past elementary level. Ngayon, high school na tayo. So, I would like to congratulate you all. Na? Para sa akin, graduate na tayo ng elementary. Ngayon, nasa high school level na tayo. When it comes to this way of life, for sure, meron na dyan may mga post-grad level na dyan. So, kung kayo na merong mga mas matagal na sa way of life na ito, who've been on carnivore diet for even decades na, no? So we are very open to suggestions, experiences, recommendations, no? So that we can all learn and help each other. Okay, so right now we have to consider looking at the fats that to take. We consider if it's a good fat, if it's a bad fat, if it's naturally occurring in nature, kahit wala bang proseso ng machineries, Can we extract these fats alone? So, coconut is a very, very good example to that. Kasi nga, yung mga coconut nakikita mo sa kopra, sa yung mga koprahan, di ba? Na nakalagay lang dyan, ano lang, sun-dried. Sun-drying alone is enough na to extract the oil. Kapag laing na or yung mature coconut, kapag na, kapag hinahawakan mo, alam mong mantikain talaga siya, natural. So whenever you take in some fats, you try to think if it's a good fat or if it's a bad fat. And above all, we are 5 minutes before we end. The most important combination na kailangan i-avoid, the combination of bad fats and bad carbs in one. So, can you think of an example? If you can think of an example, you can share that in the comment section. Yay! Congrats to all. That's really how bad fats are. That's true, Ayeng. Ganun talaga. Congratulations po sa atin, Eleanor and Ayeng. Thank you so much. So, ano yung pinaka-bad na fats and bad carbs combination? Okay? So, if you've been seeing my posts, especially if we are friends in Facebook, you know, I've been baking lately. Gumagawa ko ng donuts because sa lahat ng desserts actually, sobrang gusto ko talaga ang donuts. Compared to ice cream, compared to cakes. Between ice cream and cake, I'm a cake eater. Between others and donuts, donuts talaga ako. And na-realize ko, gustong-gusto ko pala yung donuts kasi you can get all the flavor. Like you can have a cheesecake, you can have chocolates, you can have fruity flavors, you can have everything in donuts depending lang on the toppings. So that's why I am making my own donuts that is low carb right now. Kasi yun talaga yung gusto ko. But if you think about it, donuts, the traditional one, it's one of the best example na bad fats and bad carbs in one. Kasi the flour itself, you make it into a donut and then you cook it deep fried in vegetable oil kasi yun yung mura. And then after that, you decorate it with frosting na mostly sugary. So usually the donuts that I cook, I dip it with 60 to 70% dark chocolate na melted. Walang ibang halo. And last time when I did a little mix kasi tumitigas siya, I mix it with olive oil, na raw olive oil. So it's really, really good. So I hope you can do that as well. No? Yes, potato chips. Very good example, Eleanor. Potato chips. Deep fried. Usually yung mga napiprito, crispy at kung anek-anek na dumadaan sa heat, undergoing heat. So we have to say goodbye to all those, but good thing still, it's not sad at all kasi we are now living in a modern day world na halos everything can be converted into low carb option, and we have the internet, we have these sources na teach us how to make it our own. Kahit anong paborito mo, sabihin mo lang kung anong paborito mo, merong option yan. Sige, search natin mamaya, Eleanor. Low carb DIY potato chips recipe. Or meron ding low carb easy potato chips recipe. Magkakaroon yan. That's how amazing everything is right now. No? So I think meron akong ginawang before, recipe on chips. It's just that melted cheese, any form of melted cheese. You can have mozzarella or cream cheese or kahit anong cheese dyan na melt. And then you mix it with almond flour or coconut flour and then you make it into a dough. Okay? At thinly spread mo siya at isasalang mo sa oven until crisp. Meron ka ng chips. And it's so good and it's guilt-free. So, buti nagaganahan na ako sa donuts. Don't like eating them kahit noon. I'm so happy for you. Bilib na bilib talaga ako sa mga taong hindi enslaved sa mga masasamang pagkain. But ngayon, sige, para-paraan lang. Ayeng, same tayo, Doc Grace. Mahilig ako sa donuts. Suki ako ng mga ganyan. Hindi natin i-mention kasi wala naman silang paid advertisement sa atin. And as much as possible, they're not offering low carb. Which was the hardest one to separate from when I started this lifestyle. But it was liberating also. Yes, I'm still looking forward, Ayeng, to making my own best version of choco butternut na low carb donut. So yun yung something that I am looking forward. Kaya lang fasting tayo ngayong weekend. I think I can feast on that comes Friday. Miss TP Keto sa San Rivaldo. Na ako recipe. Wow! Sige, sige. Paki-share, Miss TP, please. Thank you so much. So guys, na tapos na yung time natin. That's already almost an hour. We are down to this episode, the good fats and bad fats on ketogenic diet. As a reminder, try to think if it's naturally occurring fats and if it's something that you can convert into energy easily, or if it's something that can stagnate in your system, and then it's up to you. If you are prone to eating these neutral saturated fats, like for example the animal meat, animal fats, and then since these are convertible to energy but not as readily as coconut, and there is a chance that it will somewhat stay in your system, converting it into energy, but can stay there if you're not using it, you can do so, but try to move more. Exercise is a very good complement when it comes to consuming keto, especially if you are prone to eating these somewhat unhealthy fats or somewhat neutral fats. To maximize the benefit, you can do exercise, okay? So, kanya-kanyang style yan. This is to empower you, but the decision is yours. So, we now know how to do low carb. We now know how to choose good fats and bad fats. We now know how to do fasting, when to do fasting, how it can benefit us. And lastly, we now know how to convert it all and make a schedule that will work best for us, at the same time not depriving us with this way of life. We can still enjoy and still remain healthy. The decision is yours, the choice is yours. But I hope if you do, you stay naturally low carb so that we can all stay safe. That's all po. Bye-bye, Annabelle. Hello, Tita Karen. Thank you so much. And again, yes, gagawa tayo ng choco butternut soon. That's all for now. Bye-bye. See you again next Friday, guys. Q&A tayo. Ready your questions and invite others. Share this video. And I hope you can also visit my page and follow my page and also invite others to do the same. Thank you. Bye-bye.